Ferrall.
Don't make me kick your ass.
In your face.
Fight the fear.
Ferrall.
Howard 101.
All right, my next guest on the Ferrall Show, I wanted to talk to this guy. He's a very busy man, and he's doing a lot of great things for the 8th Congressional District in New Jersey. Of course, we're here in New York City. I live in Jersey. Jim Dowd, the Stanley Cup champion legend from Brick, New Jersey, our NHL insider, Stanley Cup 95 Devs, is in studio, as always, on Thursday night for the last 4 years. He's here, and I wanted to introduce everybody to U.S. Representative Bill Pascrell. Did I get that right, Lou? I hope so. Bill Pascrell Jr., and he's an interesting character, and I'll tell you a little bit about what he's doing. But I think it'd be better if he told us, because what he's into is, I guess he was on Capitol Hill, unless I'm crazy, pimping the youth sports and concussions, head injuries. And we've been talking about head injuries, Jimmy, in the NHL all year on this show. And, you know, I've seen a lot of head injuries being in the league. You've seen a lot of them being in the league. When I was the Thrashers play-by-play guy, Patty Stefan he was a #1 draft pick in the NHL. He was a guy that had a lot of concussions. I saw other players have head and neck injuries. A very violent sport. I think all of youth sports have become dangerous. Baseball, football particularly. We've seen guys, David Wright of the Mets, get injured, and now we'll wonder if his career is going to be affected by it. But I think it's very interesting what the representative is up to. Bill, great pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome to the Howard Stern channels and the Ferrall Show. How you doing?
My honor to be with you, Scott. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, buddy. You know, after the floods and storm last weekend, I had some pretty bad devastation at my house, but I'm glad everybody's alive and well, and we suffered some bad losses. I know you saw a lot of it yourself, but
yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you're doing with the Concussion Treatment and Care Tools Act and what it's all about.
Well, Scott, I introduced the Contact Act last year. This is after 11 years of work to bring about response to our returning soldiers from Iraq and Afghanistan, who we discovered, which indicates we were not prepared. We discovered have a traumatic brain injury, or misdiagnosed with traumatic stress disorder, post-stress traumatic disorder. And this has been a tremendous effort by members of the Congress on both sides of the aisle to respond to this issue. And I carried it a step further. We pressured the National Football League to recognize that they had swept under the rug for many, many years what had happened to their players being placed back into football games after concussions, mild at that or severe. Many other players winding up as vegetables later on when they're 50 and 55 and 60 years of age. This was an absolute disgrace, and NFL has finally lived up to what its motto is, and that is to get it right. And so now they've addressed it, and I'm very proud of what they're doing. They support my efforts to bring some kind of a professional protocol to our youngsters, our sons and our daughters, our play all kinds of sports. This is not just pertaining to football or hockey or boxing, because there's a lot of people that are getting concussions who play volleyball and basketball and soccer, male and female. I can't believe how many injuries and how many concussions we've had with our female athletes. And so we got to educate people first. We've gotten school districts to recognize it in many different states. Many states are finally addressing it. And so I'm very, very proud of our efforts that a lot of people have made to make sure that if my legislation is passed, we'll get the professionals together that will provide the absolute necessary protocols that will be put into effect in all of our schools throughout the United States of America. The Congress will make that decision. That decision will be made by the professionals what the protocol would be. We're moving forward. We're not going to stop till we complete our task.
What happened when you brought it up initially in Congress, and what was the reaction of your colleagues, and what was the reaction of the NFL's top brass?
Well, 10 years ago, when we started the caucus, Scott, we could fit the number of people in the Congressional Caucus Brain Injury Task Force in a phone booth. Now we have 130 congressmen who are interested in this. We have the Senate that's finally interested in this, because they realize it's not only significant for our soldiers who are fighting on the front lines, that there has tremendous interconnections between the military and the civilian. And now people are interested. People are coming on board. We just had a fair yesterday in Washington, in between all that we're doing day to day, and you've been reading about that. We had a full day yesterday of a fair where about 50 displayers showed the latest state of the art of how we're responding, how we're protecting people now, how we're preventing these injuries, and then what happens if, God forbid, something does happen, how we will put them through the process, either to make sure they don't go back on the field or to make them ready to go back on the field.
Tell me about the contact, the concussion treatment and care tools. When you introduced it, what was the reaction of the schools at the high school level?
Tremendous. Tremendous interest in this, Scott.
Because they're worried. They have to be scared to death about what's happening to their children.
Because look, I got a kid from Montclair High School who last year playing football got a concussion. They put him in obviously too soon. He died on the football field. I have another student from Marlboro High School in New Jersey. She was a basketball player. She had 11 concussions.
Jeez.
And now she can't do any sports whatsoever. So it's either, whether it's parents pushing their kids, whether it's the kid who says he's not going to be denied, he wants to play. There are a lot of factors that have to go into this, but people need to be at least equipped with knowledge about the damage that could occur.
Are parents still in denial about this ever-growing problem that seems to be escalating out of control? And what are they, it's scary. I mean, I've seen them do everything from change the headgear in football and different types of padding in the helmets, in baseball helmets, football helmets, in all sports. What are we doing about it other than talking about it now? Like, what kind of changes are happening?
Here's the problem. Whether it's our soldiers, whether it's our kids or anybody, we have 1,800,000 people get a concussion, a brain injury every year. Many times, or most of the times, there's no contusion, there's no blood. So people don't quite understand this, and that's part of our job. Part of the job of the task force and the Congress to educate people, educate the Congress as to what's at stake here, so that we take reasonable ways to protect people's lives. And, the Congress is all of a sudden interested in these things. And, I said many years ago, guys say you stand on the war. Some good will come out of this. What good has come out of it is the soldiers that would have died 5-6 years ago are no longer dying. We're protecting them. We're responding to their families' needs. We're going to put up regional hospitals throughout the entire country so that when they do come back, they don't feel they're being neglected. I'm very happy as to the direction that we are going in terms of brain injury in this country and the misdiagnosing of post-stress traumatic disorder, which is a major, major problem both on the battlefield and on our sports fields.
U.S. Representative Bill Pascrell Jr. on the Ferrall Show. How do you get your colleagues to pass this bill? It's so important, and at a time when they're worried about, and I understand the significance of health care and the everything that Obama's trying to do, but how do you, when that agenda is at stake, and it seems like it's consumed him, I mean, to the point where a lot of people think he's forgot about everything else.
I've been assured, Scott, that this bill will be heard in April. I'm very happy about that. Health care, which is a major, major issue in the Congress right now. We're concerned that I'm running back to another meeting as soon as I hang up with you. We hope we'll have a vote by Sunday, but who the hell knows? We're gonna do everything we possibly can. This is part of healthcare, preventing these things from happening in the first place, because it's a costly situation. People have to know what they're getting into. People have to know what are the medical things that are happening out there. What's the state of the art in medicine? What's the state of the art? I mean, we have, heart stimulators now. We have brain stimulators, and they're being developed because we're not going to give up on people who get these injuries. We want them to be productive citizens. We want them to continue to take their place in this great country. So, we're not, this is an exhausting proposition. But, you asked a very cogent question. How do you get congressmen who are dealing with 30 different issues every day?
Every day.
To concentrate on what you think is important? And if I knew the answer to that...
That's what makes your job so difficult. Let me ask you, I never understood how in a country as sophisticated as where we are, that there is so little knowledge and so little, fortitude to be able to deal with this. I don't think people understand the injuries to begin with, and I don't believe that we have the equipment to deal with it. I know the hospitals do. I know they have these CAT scans, and I know they can do all these things. But in essence, in the field of play, don't tell me for 1 minute that these high schools and small colleges and even the major colleges are prepared to deal with anything other than blown out knees and shoulders and broken arms and feet. They don't have the proper protocol to deal with brain injuries. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, that's why we need to assist them in doing this. You can be in denial.
How do they afford it?
Parents can be in denial. They need to be educated because they have children too. They have grandchildren also. If you're not prepared, then you don't know what to do. And that's why you have to have proper... The doctors have to be prepared. Those trainers have to be prepared that are with the teams. We hope that every school has properly gone through what the protocol should be. If a youngster gets hurt out there on the field, regardless of the sports, regardless of the situation, what they should do when it happens. Because many students get injured because the adults at the game, at the event, don't know what to do.
Or the kid, frankly, kids are in denial. They'll lie about it, that they're fine, and there's no one. All they do is, "Are you all right, kid?" And the kid's like, "I'm fine." And then he goes back in the game, and it could ruin his life.
It could ruin it. It's happened many, many, many times. And I'm sorry, Scott, I got to run, but I want to tell you something. What you're doing now is very important and very critical. Don't what you're doing. I'll gladly come back on your show if you think I could be of any help or assistance.
Absolutely. We'd love to get you back on in April when you finally get everybody to listen to you and you can convince all the rest of your colleagues to...
And I'm trying. Anybody, my phone number in Washington is 202-225.
All right, well, we'll get you on. Lou knows how to track you down. And just tell those colleagues of yours to quit going out on those big lunches so we can get the right equipment in to take care of these kids. It's more important.
Count on me.
All right, brother. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Representative. We appreciate it, Bill.
God bless.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Bill Pascrell, the 8th Congressional District of New Jersey.